Ladies and gentlemen, I can't stand the way nobody does reality anymore. I'm not talking reality TV where everything's scripted to sound like somebody's idea of reality. I'm talking about actual reality. Reality happens every single day and nobody wants to show it. Mechanics on the internet are always talking about the hard stuff that happens to them over the course of the day, but they never really show it, at least not the whole thing, and of what they show, there's really only two types. You've got the mechanic who makes a video with a premeditated hiccup that he solves super easy and makes himself look really, really good, or you've got the guy who took something apart wrong, he didn't follow procedure, and now he's walking around his garage cussing and throwing things. But what about the guys who took something apart the right way and still had a major problem? That's right, I'm about to talk about a trapped bolt. Let's have a look at a real issue. Real reality. This 2013 Ford F-150 needs to have the cab lifted a little bit so that I can replace a cooling line for the turbocharger on the passenger side. I know there are some people who have successfully replaced that line by feeling around back there with a pick, but we're not going to do it that way. We're just going to go ahead and lift the cab. And we have a problem. First off, you're not supposed to use an impact to remove these cab mounts, but here in the Rust Belt, even if you use hand tools, you can still have this happen right here. The little trap nut up in there has spun free from its holders, and now there's no way to remove this bolt without cutting it off. And even if you do cut this off and lift the cab, once the cab's off, there won't be any access to replace that nut up in there. We're going to have to cut into the body of this vehicle. A lot of people will cut into the front right there, but that's not a good idea in the Rust Belt. The heat from the welder and the cutoff wheel is just going to make that rust super fast, and it's going to destroy the truck. We don't want to do that. So through the floorboard it is. Let me show you how to do this. First off, we want to get these floor mats out of the way. Just grab these carpet and pull it back like such. Now we're going to have to cut a hole in the floorboard, but how do we find out where to cut that hole without cutting the whole floorboard out of here? I'll show you how I plan on doing it. There's a square hole right there, 3 inches to the left of that body mount. I know it's on the right of the screen, but it's on the left side of the vehicle. I'm just going to stick this punch tool right here up into it and make a dent. Then I know I have to make a hole 3 inches to the right of that. I might have achieved a bit higher than I intended. I was trying to make a dent, not a hole. Now I have to fix that. But I also have to make a hole much bigger, 3 inches over, right there. Big enough to get a 22mm socket through. I'm not going to weld or glue that hole shut. I'm going to leave an access there, but that hole does have to be plugged. I have an 1 3/4 plug that came on a salvage engine that I bought, and I have an 1 3/4 hole saw that I'm going to use to make that hole. And there you have it. I can't see it from where I'm at, but I bet you guys can. Yep, I can kind of see it through the screen. We need to put a socket on that. I'm making sure my plug fits. I will be using grease for some corrosion protection for this bare metal right here, but the rest of this you know how to do. I hope I help somebody.